So we're back with some more culture wars here in EU4, and I went forward 2 years in between episodes because I wanted to witness the spawn of the manufacturing institution, and it has spawned in Prussia, and it's growing relatively quickly in Muscovy. So this is another, I mean, this institution and all the other institutions like the Enlightenment, I think the Enlightenment is the only one that is left, they grow relatively quickly all across the globe, simply because you simply have to build buildings in order for them to start growing in your country. So it's much easier to get them than like the printing press or the Renaissance, for example. But still, being close to Muscovy does help out the Muscovites a lot. And they are currently one of the rising powers. They look incredibly powerful over here, and they have basically no rivals. I mean, the Finnish, with their personal union over the Latvians, are relatively powerful to the north, but to the south, I mean, they have already defeated the Hungarians. The Silesians are not particularly scary. The Crimeans are their ally, and they're currently wrecking their only big rival, the Ryazanians. Now, we left off with this war in the last episode. Karelia was involved. They lost 2 provinces, this one and this one, to the Muscovites, and we also had Albania involved, and they had to give up this 1 province to the Crimeans, and they also had to break their alliances, at least with the Ryazanians. I think they are still allied to Bulgaria and Romania, but yeah, the rest they had to give up. Other than that, we have the Neapolitans finally deciding to colonize this province here. That's very nice. I really do appreciate that. We've got the Leonese still at war for Mobile, fighting the Catalans, but they're losing heavily because obviously the war goal is not controlled by them. And we've got the Scottish, or the Scots, I guess, together with their subjects at war with the Galicians and Moroccans to take over the Cape. Now they're just going to be able to do that. They're just going to be able to take these lands over. They might, I don't know, they might even take some other lands here, some other colonies of the Galicians. That's very possible. Perhaps they're even going to take over lands here. That's also possible. We'll have to see. But for the most part, I think they're just going to go for the Cape right there. Yeah. Other than that, we have not really too much going on. We did have another war in these 2 years that I skipped between the Andalusians and Ashanti. They just kind of grew more powerful, but that's obviously also not all too important. So yeah, those are the things that happened, and yeah, I guess we'll just continue. Now this is actually episode 20, and every 5 episodes I usually go over the ledger and have a more in detail look at some of the map modes, but I think we'll skip it today because I don't really think we had too many major changes in the last sort of 5 episodes that kind of warrants checking out the ledger again. So I will probably postpone that until maybe episode 25 because I just don't think it really makes a whole lot of sense to check it out right now. But I definitely want to check out the Great Powers. So the Occitans are still number 1. We've got the Leonese here number 2. The Catalans, I think it's just very surprising to see them at number 5 because, you know, they started off in Iberia and then they were exiled to North America. They've just exploded in terms of development here, and they're just going to continue to colonize. And also, from this war, they're probably going to be able to take a whole bunch of lands from the New Dutch, and perhaps even from the Leonese down here. So that's going to strengthen even more. Other than that, we've got the Muscovites here on number 6. And they're currently fighting their biggest rival, the Ryazanians, who are technically still a great power, but that is going to change quite likely at the end of this war. Yeah, look at this. They're completely besieged. Now, I wonder what's going to happen. They have managed to retake their capital, actually. You can see the Crimeans and Ryazanians fighting here. They've lost the capital, and they actually control the war target, which is Vladimir. If the Muscovites would actually take that over, they would have so much more war score. So I'm not really sure why they're not doing that. I mean, they basically won this war now. I mean, they're currently fighting here in the south, but I think they just stat wiped a Ryazanian army. I mean, they still got troops. They're not without forces, but they're significantly weakened. So it's just a matter of time. They still haven't taken Vladimir. This is just so much war score being lost there. But yeah, for the most part, it's already negative 83%. So we'll see a peace deal here very soon. So those are still the 3 wars that we've got. Okay. Yeah, I can't see the war goal actually. How much war score is being lost because of it, but they probably already had it capped at 25, if I'm not mistaken. So they certainly lost out on that. But yeah, so they're gonna siege the capital. Capital just fell. It's now under Ryazanian control, which is funny, even though Muscovy has a claim here. So that's very strange. Why would the Crimeans not give it to them? I don't know. But that obviously sucks, because otherwise Muscovy could have taken this over. This is a really good province. 33 development. I would have loved to take that. But you know, they're definitely gonna get their 2 cores back, and then they've got another claim here, and yeah, that's gonna be overall very good for them. I don't really know what they're waiting for. I mean, they've got pretty much everything they need. There are some rebels here, Crimean peasants, causing issues. The Egyptians, I guess, in the meantime, while we wait for a peace deal here, we can check out the Egyptians. They're taking attrition for some reason. They've got a pretty strong stack, a lot of infantry in that army, but it's looking good for them. Egyptian Western India is ever growing, so that's very nice. Let's check out the peace deal here, though. Ooh, okay. So it looks like the Ryazanians have been. Ooh, they had to give up a lot of province. So they still have their capital in Ryazan. But the Muscovites, oh my god, so they took their 2 cores back, they took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 provinces from them, and the Ryazanians certainly had to give up. Now, one of these provinces, they had, yeah, so they gave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the Crimeans, so yeah, wow. So 6 to the Muscovites, 5 to the Crimeans, that is pretty impressive, and I suppose... did they give something to the Sami? No, they didn't. Okay, they certainly did not. Okay, but yeah, they basically cut in 3 parts. Their capital, then the European part, and then the Central Asian part. They still get to colonize. They're not going to die anytime soon, because they still have a lot of development here, and they obviously, as I said, have plenty of room to expand still, but they definitely have been curbed, or that their power has been curbed significantly. So yeah, Muscovites just on the rise, as I said, and the Crimeans have now replaced the Ryazanians as the new great power number 8, and they have kept their lines. Now that's important, because usually after these big wars, you know, former allies actually break their alliances, but I think because the Muscovites have been very generous in this peace deal and given just as many provinces to the Crimeans as they took for themselves, they're going to have a long-lasting alliance here, which definitely is going to benefit the Muscovites, because they've got pretty much nobody else. I mean, the Greeks and the Serbians, but they're both very weak. As long as they don't get into conflict with the Turkish, they're pretty much set. I mean, the Finnish and Latvians, they're obviously powerful because they are, you know, in one... They've got a personal union, so they're basically a unified country almost. So it's going to be difficult to advance for the north, further north, but they can take some more lands from the Sami, and once they take like just a couple provinces, they can go ahead and colonize themselves, and you know, that will definitely strengthen their power. They also kind of secured this last Karelian province for themselves, so that no one else can take it over. But yeah, I guess it's time to check out some other wars. We've got the Catalans declaring a war on the United States, so that means their war has ended. They have not taken back their cores, so that was something they couldn't do. And I wonder if they had taken some lands. They've taken 1 province from the New Dutch, and they're about to finish off the United States. In fact, wow, the United States has actually a lot of provinces besieged. How is it possible? How is that possible? I don't know. But let me quickly check this out. This is definitely a war the Catalans have declared. How are you doing so poorly? That's actually kind of funny. We've got the Highlander-Swedish excommunication war, and the Pomeranians are the only ones supporting the Swedes in this. So, yeah, I mean, since the Pomeranians only got Gotland, and the Swedes are already relatively weakened, I don't see any Swedish resurgence, as some of you have been hoping for. So let's quickly check out the diplomatic situation. Yeah, it's the Flemish, the Danish, Dutch, and yeah, the Highlanders. So you've got pretty much no chance. The Highlanders do have, at least they had cores here, I think. So they're definitely going to take these provinces back, and I guess the Dutch will gain some lands down here. But yeah, the Swedish probably won't be wiped out. but they will be reduced in size significantly. So, yeah, sorry for them. Sorry for them, because they're not going to be able to survive. I think they will be annexed in some of the later wars. The Swedes will just get gobbled up. Oh well. But yeah, let's check this out. The great powers I already did check out. Right, what was it? Oh, right, I wanted to check out the war between the Scots and the Galicians. So the Cape has completely been conquered by the Scots. So this is kind of cool, since the English are still in a personal union under the Scots. Basically, the entire Cape region is under Stuart rule. Actually, no, that's not correct. They're no longer Stuarts. They're now Courtenays. But regardless, they're still under control of that one family there. I do believe they've also gotten some provinces here. Yes, so the Galicians have lost some more land here too. At least two provinces. Okay, and did they lose anything here? No, they did not. Okay, interesting. But they are Malacan separatists. Now, if the Galicia doesn't deal with them, there could be a new country spawning that obviously does not have any chance at winning, because it's not one of the starting cultures, but still, it would at least weaken the Galicians here. So, I don't know if I want to see this, probably not. The English are doing an amazing job of colonizing Korea and, you know, big parts of China. I mean, considering the fact that they were very late to East Asia, or to the colonization of East Asia, they have really taken up a huge portions of land so far. I mean, the Syrians were much earlier. They arrived much earlier here, but they haven't really expanded as much as they could have. Now, yeah, the English are taking estuaries here, all kinds of estuaries and important centers of trade. So they're really, I mean, I don't know if they're even going to get annexed at the end of the day, because they, you know, just continue to grow their own development. So it's going to be very difficult for the Scots to take them over. But still, at the end of the day, it will at least half of their development will get added to the Scottish development. So, you know, that's good for them. That's certainly good for them. Scottish Alaska has formed as well. We've got now Norman Columbia, although that is not... Is that a colonial nation? That is a colonial... Okay, so this is a second colonial nation. So Norman Canada is now no longer the only colonial nation. The Catalans are being... they got to be careful that they're not getting cut off here by either the Normans or the Louisianans, the Galician Louisianans. South America is pretty much all split up. We've got Irish Paraguay and Irish La Plata, Occitan La Plata, and even Leonese La Plata. And of course, English Brazil's still the strongest power, but the Piemontese over here as well. Very nice. Actually, you know what? I will have a look at the culture map mode here, because that's kind of interesting to check that out. So the English, a huge part of this is English. Alright. What's the biggest group in North America? Probably the Iberian group, because we've got the Catalans, the Galicians, and the Leonese, and they're obviously also in the Caribbean, and they're also on, you know, what's this, Vancouver and Washington State, something like that. So yeah, they have control over huge parts of land. Now, it seems as if... Wait, hold on, did they... Okay, no, I thought for a second they may have even taken over some lands from the Leonese here, because the Catalans do have a claim, but apparently that's not the case. And Louisiana gets permanent claims on all of the Louisiana territory. I didn't know that, but that is very interesting. So they have basically claims on all of this, their entire colonial region. Just like the US had claims on all of this, but the US, by the way, are now gone, so they have been gobbled up. Not really a big surprise there, to be honest. So the Catalans are certainly mightily powerful. The only nation, the only exiled nation actually, that is doing very well. I mean, none of the other Iberians, like the Aragonese or Portuguese, are doing particularly well. They're not. None of them are a great power. So yeah, that's nice for them. And there seems to be a war in France, the Gascon reconquest of Anjou. So the Gascons declared this war against the Burgundians, but they're also fighting the Wallonians, the Piemontese, and their colonial nations, as well as the Austrians. And they've got the backing of the Leonese and the Swiss. Now the Swiss, we know, they're not particularly useful in this, but the Leonese are powerful. So I wonder if the Leonese effect can help out against... this just looks too powerful. You know, it's the Vallonians, Piedmontese, and Burgundians. Those three together, I think, are strong enough to fight the Gascons and Leonese. And then, you know, counting in the Austrians. That's tough. That's tough. I don't think the Leonese can hold this. So it's going to be the Gascons overrun. I doubt the Leonese are going to lose anything in this. But the Gascons are definitely going to get reduced even more in size. Very sad for them. Yeah, the Vallonians can throw a punch. 88,000. I mean, of course, these are combined forces, but still. Wow. Okay, so the Gascons get overrun, and it might be that the Burgundians will be able to form France afterwards. I mean, we shouldn't forget that the Montmorency family, if we can zoom out a little bit more, the Montmorency family has still control over the three major French culture groups, or cultures. And, you know, if Burgundy takes out Gascony in a military way, and happens to get a personal unit over Normandy, they pretty much established France, and that you know, that will be good for them. Also, one thing that I've just noticed is Prussia used to have the same dynasty as the Swedes, but they now have the same dynasty as the Franconians. So I don't think there's a personal union going on there, but that could potentially lead to a personal union, because yeah, their current king is 21. And there is going to be a succession war between the Franconians and the Finnish, should the Prussian king die right now. Wow, well, that would be certainly very interesting. The Highlanders finished their war with the Swedes. They took one province, and I think that was kind of it. That was pretty much it. Okay, interesting. Any other wars that we have got going on? No, this is just the Gascon reconquest, which is obviously not going particularly well. Alright, so let's have a quick look at the institutions then. How far has it spread? Oh, it has spread so quickly. In these 6 years, it spread in the entirety of the Muscovy. Yeah, it just spread everywhere, basically. Wow, okay. So yeah, this is no problem for the world to get, really. I mean, the Crimeans actually have almost no growth there, because they apparently don't have a whole lot of... manufactories. Neither do the Romanians. Not to be confused with the Romanians. But yeah, the Muscovites certainly benefited from this quite a bit. And they're still only great power number 7 though, so they have a lot of catching up to do. I think it has to do with the fact that the Muscovites took so long to grow in power. I mean, really, their rise has just been very recent. And, you know, for a long time, they've been cut off from colonization. Just imagine if instead of the Sami, or just the Sami and the Ryazanians, we would also have the Muscovites colonize, you know, maybe all of this. All of these provinces up here are also 11 development. I mean, they are huge, but they're not as useless as they are in regular EU4, because they're not just like 3 development, they're actually 11 development. So they are just as useful as all the other provinces. So had all of this also been under Muscovite control, or, you know, by now, I guess, that would really have catapulted them to a much higher place there. We also see a new war. The Saxons apparently declared a war on the Czechs and the Hungarians. Now, they declared this war on the Czechs because they want to get their core back, but I wonder if they declared this war alone. They did. They did. That is so stupid. That is so stupid. Because they're certainly not going to stand a chance against them. Yeah, look at this. The Hungarians bring 60,000 men. So unless the Turks or maybe the Ruthenians decide to attack the Hungarians right now, the Saxons are going to get absolutely wrecked. Not sure why they decided this would be a great time to declare the war. But anyways, we've got the Galicians, who are now in a personal union out of the Catalans. Now that is interesting, but we've got the Scots trying to go after this. Now, the Catalans have only the Maltese as their support. Now, we saw the war, the Catalans successfully defended against the Gascons in this previous war, but that was because, you know, only the Leonese really had a presence in North America. But the Scots and English, they have a much bigger presence in North America. They have a lot more, well, maybe not North America, but, you know, they've got a bigger presence, at least in the south. And I think it's very likely for, like, English Brazil and, you know, Scottish Columbia to send forces up here to North America to deal with the Catalan armies, and that could really weaken them. I mean, they still got a huge army. I think the only nation that could really rival the Catalans right now would be Northern Canada. I think they're the only colonial nation at this moment that could actually fight them here in North America. But still, we might see a combined effort from English Brazil and their overlords. I mean, look at English Brazil. Wow, they've got so many men. 100, like, almost, well, that's Piedmontese Brazil, but yeah, they've got like 140, 60, 180,000 some troops. That's pretty impressive. Alright, so we'll see what happens, what comes out of this war, but I think for now I will have to end this episode. We'll have a last look at the Great Powers, just because, yeah, no changes there, but that's okay. Anyways, I will end this episode here, and we'll come back next time with some more culture wars.